Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Handsome German, the only show on the internet. And it's been a while. I've been busy with life, so that's all the information you're getting out of me in that regard. I was fairly excited when I saw that Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon got a bunch of really positive reviews. And I thought, hey, I mean, it's Shovel Knight, it's a puzzle game, it's a roguelike, roguelite at least. And I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I think it's fairly uncontroversial to say that Shovel Knight was a good game. All of it, the entire treasure trove, was fantastic. Its presentation was fantastic. The art style, the music, all absolutely incredible. Leon, shut up. And it's also fair to say that I like puzzle games with hundreds of hours and Puyo Puyo and Panel de Pon and all that good stuff. And Tetris 99 is like my fifth most played game. I love roguelikes too. Absolutely adore them. My most played game on the Switch with nearly 1,000 hours is Slay the Spire because I just can't get enough of it, even though I've literally done everything in this game that there is to do. And all of that preamble is to say that I have a vague idea what makes puzzle games and roguelikes good, because I've played them for over 1,000 hours each. So let's start with why Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is not particularly good. And I will do that as soon as I have fixed the microphone. I will fix the microphone now because it keeps falling over. I'm fixing it. It is now affixed. So that was kind of a pun and I didn't even intend for it to be. Alright. So the core mechanic of this game is satisfying in theory. You line up a bunch of enemies together and you strike them, and then all enemies connected to the target also get damaged. Whenever you attack an enemy and don't kill it, you take damage depending on that enemy's attack power. You start the game with just 5 hit points. You start each run with just 5 hit points. Which means that something like a skeleton, if you were to attack it directly with no extra items or anything, will always get you down from 5 to 1 hit point by the time you kill it, because it deals 2 damage to you and it has 3 hit points, and by default you only deal 1 point of damage. Now, this is all fairly basic so far. There's obviously the aspect of constantly collecting potions to make sure that your hit points don't drop to 0. There is, and I give the game credit for that, an option to add extra lives to your run, all the way up to infinite lives, which means that this doesn't have to be a roguelite if you don't want it to be. It can instead just be a puzzle game. And I can at least appreciate that. There just now you saw, trying to kill the skeletons, I had to take 4 points of damage to do so. And that's not very satisfying, is it? Like, the game constantly forces you to disengage from whatever you're doing. And I apologize, my recording session was interrupted a couple of times. You have to constantly disengage from combat and then run off to find a potion. And the best way to accomplish that is to make sure that there aren't too many enemies on screen so that you aren't cut off from possible potions that will save your life. If you are cut off from the potions, then all you can do is sit around and wait and hope for a new potion to spawn somewhere that you can get to. Now, obviously, yes, if you get into a situation where you cannot reach a potion even though you need one, you should have probably planned ahead more. The problem is that the playing field is extremely small, and something as simple as a skeleton dropping at the wrong time can leave you completely cut off from half the board in a way that isn't really your fault at all. And that sucks ass. That's stupid. I don't like that. And the main problem with that is, like I said, the fact that you cannot defeat many enemies without taking substantial amounts of damage unless you happen to have a pickup that actually increases your damage output. Like right now you can see I have a sword that increases my damage by 2. And like I said, I got interrupted a couple of times. Now, you can pick up new items that will make you stronger for the rest of the run. I picked up a glove, which increases the damage I deal to singular enemies. So whenever I'm not attacking a chain, I deal 1 extra point of damage, which is nice. Which is definitely nice, because that suddenly opens up the possibility of defeating some enemies without taking damage. But again, the problem is some enemies. There are very few enemies that only have 1 hit point, and I did not remember that I got interrupted this many times during this recording session. Some enemies only have 1 hit point, but they're extremely rare. They're the blobs that leave slime or lava on the floor after you defeat them. But even the basic bugs will require you to take 1 point of damage. And again, it's fine in theory that health is a resource that you have to spend in this game. What I have a problem with is the fact that that feels like absolute shit. It does not feel good to constantly take damage. It feels like I'm doing something wrong at all times. But the thing is, a lot of the times I'm not. I can set up a wonderful 24 enemy kill combo and nearly die setting it off, despite the fact that I did everything right. And yes, that's how the game was designed to be played, but I hate it. I hate the fact that it's designed to be played that way. And that I recognize is pretty subjective. I personally don't like a game killing me for doing everything right. That sucks ass. If I do everything right, I should be winning. I shouldn't be taking damage. Next problem is the fact that there is very little content here. And usually, I mean, this is a $20 game, and it has less to do than Monster Jaunt, you know? And if a game has less content than Monster Jaunt, it shouldn't cost more than Monster Jaunt. That's just my opinion on a lot of games, I think. You pretty much, like, you unlock different knights, but they all play more or less the same, except for one little gimmick. Some gimmicks are admittedly kind of cool. The Mole Knight can switch places with enemies and objects. That's probably the most useful. The Prism Knight, who's new, who I actually genuinely like. It's one of those rare cases of Shadow the Hedgehog syndrome, where you add a new character who's way too edgy, but it kind of works. Prism Knight has the ability to switch 2 items from a distance, and also to teleport, which are both perfectly cool and useful abilities to have, I think. But then there's characters like Plague Knight, whose ability is that he poisons enemies after attacking them, which deals 1 extra point of damage after a turn. So Plague Knight's strategy becomes to hit, walk away, and then come back and attack again. So essentially, you sometimes deal 2 points of damage if you're willing to wait for it. And that's cool, I guess. It's pretty lame, honestly. It's waiting in a puzzle game is one of the least satisfying things you can do. I want to be constantly moving. I want to be constantly attacking things, healing myself if I have to, picking up items, picking up power-ups. But that's not what this game is like at all. You take damage and then you heal yourself, and then eventually you come across enemies that have so much health that you cannot defeat them, like, at all, and then you're just stuck. You're just stuck somewhere at the bottom of the board with an enemy you can't defeat. Like, right now, I should be able to kill a singular enemy without taking damage. I think that's not, like, imagine if you played Shovel Knight, but every time you shovel somebody, like, you accidentally fling them into your own face like an idiot. And that's what this game is like. Come to think of it, it's kind of weird that Shovel Knight doesn't even, like, have the ability to launch enemies, which seems like a no-brainer. Like, walk around, launch blocks at enemies to deal more damage. Maybe have that be a way that the character can win without dying. Now, there's actually one character in this game that I think is genuinely well designed and is infinitely better than all the other characters combined, and that's Treasure Knight. And the reason I think that is because when he attacks enemies from below, he deals 2 points of damage instead of just 1. And that might not seem like much, but all these bugs you're seeing right now, without a special sword, you would take 1 point of damage for the first time you attack one of them. But as Treasure Knight, even without any special power-ups, you can just attack them from below and kill them instantly. And I feel like that's the direction the game should have taken. There's a special animation for Shovel Knight when he performs a chain kill, where he will do his little pogo jump animation from the good game. And that deals extra damage to everyone in the chain. Now, if Shovel Knight, for example, had the special ability that he doesn't take damage if he attacks enemies from above. So, in a way, you're digging your way through enemies from top to bottom, and you do take damage when attacking them from the side or from below. Then there would suddenly be an entire strategy, an entire layer of strategy opening up where you actually get to avoid taking damage by planning ahead. And I know I've talked exclusively about the damage mechanic, but that's what this game really comes down to. To the point where if, like I do right now, you have the shield power-up that reduces damage you take by 1 for a little while, for I think 12 points of damage, you can just run into bosses and just hit them over and over and over again, because they only deal 1 damage to you on contact, so why not just face fuck them until they're dead? And no strategy, you just saw with Mole Knight, I didn't engage with that boss fight. I just slapped my face into his face until his face was broken. That's terrible. Now that I'm done explaining to you why I think the core gameplay mechanics are unsatisfying and ultimately self-defeating, literally, because that's all you do. You kill yourself in this game. That's, that's very fun. That's yeah. The next problem is that there is very little stuff to unlock. I think I played this game for maybe 4 hours, and I'm already out of items that I can unlock in the store, of relics that I can unlock for future runs. And here you actually see me probably die soon, just because the game is shitty like that. Like, you walk and then suddenly there's an enemy dropping in and then you're trapped and you can't do anything about it. You can't get out. As you can see here, no items left. Maybe you can unlock more, but I beat the game as Shovel Knight, as you can see from the glorious golden armor. And that didn't really do anything for me, so great. And yeah, so the fact that there's so little stuff to unlock, that after just a couple of hours I unlocked all of the possible items that can show up in dungeons, and the fact that I'm only missing, I think, 2 knights, like there's only 2 knights that I haven't unlocked yet, Polar Knight and Tinker Knight, and that's just because they haven't shown up yet randomly. And I'm sure I would be able to beat them the same way I beat all of the other ones on my first try, because the combat is brain dead. It's a DPS race. It's stupid. It's dumb. I hate it. And that's why Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is a 3 out of 10. I was going to give it a 4 out of 10, but I guess I just said 3. Yeah, no, I'm very disappointed with this game. There's going to be more content coming out next year, which is going to help with the second half of my problem. But the core gameplay is just so deeply flawed and unfun that I don't understand how anyone could possibly recommend this game with a straight face. Like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe this is a Dragon's Dogma situation where, even though my video has 0 dislikes, obviously, as you can see from looking at the video, maybe I'm just the only one who doesn't get it. That's totally possible. But for $20, I do not recommend this game at all. I strongly advise against it. Just go replay Shovel Knight. It's good. Zubaz is in it. That's all you really need, right? And with that, thank you very much for watching. This video was brought to you by Ast Royale, which is a card game that I made that you can't buy yet, but I'll put a link in the description as soon as you can. So, yep, if you watch this video in the future, sometime in the distant future of 2022, which is totally still 2 years away, right, guys? There will be a link in the description, and you can make my dream come true of owning $2 more than I did before, because the profit margin is very slim on that game. If you found this video informative, entertaining, or good to fall asleep to, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And, fuck. Game sucks, wasted money. That's a shame. Oh well. See you next time.